All right. Peace, Siba.
Peace.
What's going on? Hey, did I say that right?
Siba.
Siba.
All good.
What's going on, fam? How you doing? Yeah, so as you can tell, we've got our guests through the Google Hangout. Hey, B, turn on the light for me. So it's kind of dark in the station right now. But let me go through the joints we just played. Right now, instrumental in the background, all the way from Japan. Big shout out to DJ Mitsu the Beats. This is off his Celebration of Jay. It's a project that he did to kind of celebrate Jay Dilla. And the track is called Unk. All right, before that, we had some 07 featuring Jose Gonzalez with Last Night. Before that, we had some Substantial and the Other Guys featuring Von P with a track called Late Pass. Before that, we had Halsey with the Ghost alt mix. Before that, we had Rainy Milo, Bank Robber featuring Costico. And we saw some homegrown Old Orlando hip hop, Titus Verse with Dial M for Martian. But right now, hey, are you in NY right now?
Absolutely, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn just beat the Hawks in Game 3 of the NBA playoffs, so you know.
Nice.
Smile.
So you happy? All right, that's dope. So yeah, you had tickets to go check out the playoffs. So wait, how was the game? You said it was tight.
It was tight, but they pulled it off. You know, I'm actually a Knicks fan. I still wear my orange.
All right.
You know, we got to support New York team. So, and I live in Brooklyn, so
nice.
Support.
All right. So now, okay. So, were you born and raised? Oh, by the way, this is Siba from the group Get Open. A group with 4 MCs, or is it 3 MCs and a producer?
There's 4 MCs, and we mostly produce all our own tracks, although we work with different artists, you know, producers, mainly cats out in Europe, Germany, France. We're kind of a, you know, multi-international group.
Now, we're going to get into that, but how did a group of 4 dudes get together at SUNY Purchase, right?
Correct.
SUNY College Purchase?
Yeah.
And you guys were going for school, music degrees.
Yeah, well, two of us went for music. The third, one of the other MCs, Kiambu, he was in photography, and the third guy was into Eastern religion.
Damn. Okay. So now there's no rap like degree, right, at SUNY, unless they're really progressive back then.
Not as
like what did you go for? You know what I'm saying? Like what was rap?
Yeah, I went for engineering, studio engineering. So there was classes for what they call electronic composition. So I actually made beats for homework for my projects. And I would go to class with beats and have to explain how I made them, where the sources were, the samples, you know, just explaining the whole construction of making a hip hop instrumental.
Oh, that is dope. That's fresh.
And that's back in 90, you know, that's back in 92. So they're very progressive. Back then, there was about 6 of us doing electronic music, you know, from techno and house, that kind, you know. I was the only hip hop guy. There was another cat, Compton, he was doing R&B. And now they have 80 kids that do electronic music.
Wow. Okay.
You know, so it grew.
Yeah, that's crazy. Especially, and I think some of that is just technology. What were you using back then for your homework?
We were using a Kai S950, which is one of the first samplers, you know, for all those who are Pete Rock fans, Primo fans.
What was the sampling time on that?
Oh, I think it must have been like, what, 12 seconds?
Nice.
Something like that, maybe a little bit more at like, you know, 8-bit. So it's very, you know, the quality wasn't the greatest, but at the time, you know, hip hop, when you start producing at that time, you're looking for that gritty sound. And that S950 really got you that sound. Like I say, you know, even cats like, I'm sure like cats like Buck Wild and a lot of producers were messing with the S950. And we worked, you know, first sequencing programs on the Mac. Studio Vision is what we used. And we had an ADAT to record vocals. So
nice.
We didn't,
all right.
Yeah, very, I won't say old school, but, you know, somewhat vintage.
All right. Yeah, but I mean, you're using the technology that was at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like the best that you have at that time.
No, absolutely. We were blessed to have a amazing, you know, studio at the school, and also really an amazing program director named Jim McElwain, who was very visionary. He was actually an engineer on the Planet Rock Africa Bambaataa record.
What? Oh, that's the best person to learn from. That's dope.
Exactly. You know, so he was, you know, I guess he was in his 50s, but you know, you wouldn't expect a cat like that to be so open-minded. He was just a jazz cat, but he was open to the hip hop and electronics. So we were blessed to be able to, you know, have that kind of support.
Dope. So now, so how did you and the other members, like, because Middle Eastern like religion, that doesn't really, the other ones I can kind of understand, photography maybe, you know, at the studio or what have you, but how did everybody meet?
Well, actually, what was going on is that first year I attended college. I came from France and I already had done a couple of years in school, and I knew what I wanted to do was to put a hip hop group together. But my idea was,
France? I'm sorry, you just can't just gloss over that. What do you mean you came from France?
Well, I'm originally from Paris. Moi, je parle français. Je rappe un petit peu en français. Donc, s'il y a des Français qui écoutent, bonjour.
I'm going to assume that was clean because
yes, it was all
it's
clean.
Another language because we're on the airwaves in 91.5. But I don't think it matters if it's a different language. I should probably be all right. Yeah, who would know? Who knows? Yeah.
So, having come from France, and hip hop was really just starting back then. I mean, you know, like having a lot of groups. My idea was to come to New York. I always, you know, spoke English, so I rhymed in English more than French. And I said, you know, I want to put a band together. And the idea was that we would do shows, but we'd have a live band because a lot of kids that were into rock music or alternative, all that stuff, they weren't into just having a DJ with MCs. You'd be more open, you know, if you had a band. So I kind of, you know, went around and found a church drummer, my man Franklin Sticks, who's still very busy in the music front. Then we had this, you know, this kind of surfer cat, Brian from Long Island, who was playing rock. And then we had a pianist from Jazz Cat. So it was that combo that brought together. We kind of replay like instrumentals from the time, you know, this was like, you know, mid-90s. And at the time, you know, it just kind of meshed. And we were able to attract all kinds of, you know, ethnic backgrounds, all kinds of different white people, Latino, Asian, African-American would come to the shows because there was this kind of you know, ethnic band on stage and MCs. There was some white kids, you know, I'm from France, you know, some African-Americans and Caribbean, and that formula really, you know, kind of grew. And then our second year, we decided to call the group Get Open.
So where did the name come from?
It just came from hanging out. I mean, you know, when you're in college, everybody who's been in college, you know, at some point or another, you're going to get open, whether it's, you know, at a party or with friends, just, you know, messing around. And that term just came around just all the time. And someone said, why don't you call yourself Get Open? And yeah, why not? Just kind of stick in mind.
And then, so at the time, was it the band and the 4 members, like total, or?
It was more. When the first year, there was about 5, 6 members, but we were just called the Purchase Rhyme Crew. It was just more of a collective. And then the second year, we got a little bit more serious as, you know, I was working on more tracks that I said, you know, I'm going to need some MCs to, you know, drop lyrics. And then it just came about that we said, well, we'd call this Get Open. And it was 5, 6 members. There was some cats that would come in, that would come out. It was a little loose to start. I wasn't really, it was, you know, I didn't want to be like a drill sergeant or anything, you know.
No doubt. So take me back to France. What part of France?
Paris.
Oh, okay. So the main. All right. So, like, what was your first hip hop memory? Because that is like our first international hip hop memory story. So,
I'll tell you exactly where I was. I mean, the first track I ever listened was The Message, but I was in New York, so I won't say that was my first Paris memory. But as crazy as this may sound, my mom took me to what was called the New York Hip-Hop Festival. And on stage, if you can imagine this, you know, in your head, you had graffiti going on in the background on big wooden panels from Dondi, Lee, and Futura 2000, all old school cats.
Oh my God.
Wow. That's just the start. And check this. DST and Bambaataa on the turntables, 2 sides of the stage.
Yeah.
And then MCing, you had Ramel Z and Fab Five Freddy.
What?
That's crazy.
And dancers came in, Rocksteady, the whole Rocksteady, early, you know, Mr. Freeze, all those Frosty Freeze, of course, Crazy Legs and all those cats. And come in and out, they had the Double Dutch girls. It was like Double Dutch was always part of the culture.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A lot of people forget that because it's more of a thing in schools and universities sometimes have. But back then, double Dutch was part of the culture. There was some early hip hop records that talked about double Dutch. So if you can imagine, all this is happening at one time.
Damn. That wow.
And to me was like, what the hell?
That's like Wild Style, like in real life, like
Yes.
seeing Wild Style, the end of Wild Style happening.
Absolutely.
Damn, that is awesome.
So to me,
that's why I go back.
Oh, like I want to get into this at some point.
All right. So let's get into a track from this new album. This is The Weeknd, right?
Yeah.
And
definitely appreciate the support, by the way.
Oh, no problem. You already know. If it's dope, it gets played on our show. You know what I'm saying? And like, okay, so the whole album, because this is what, your third album? So where is it?
I would say this was our second official album. We did an album we actually did an EP back in late 90s, and we had an album ready and had issues with a record label, so it never came out. Maybe we'll put out a black album kind of thing, released at some point.
All right. Let's get into the track. The name. What do they call it? Was the name of the group is the name of the track? What do they call it?
Self-titled.
Self-titled. I guess so. Big shout out to homie Self-titled in Tampa. He's supposed to be doing a show here, I think, too.
All right.
But so yeah, let's get into Get Open. So give me one random Jeopardy style fact about Get Open, the track, not the band. We'll get into random facts about the band later.
Well,
but about the track.
The track was produced by a very, extremely talented German beatmaker named Glam. If you're into listening to some international hip hop, check him out. 58beats.com. These guys have amazing beats, groups, rap in German, but he makes some crazy beats and has worked with Dead Prez amongst other people. Check him out.
Nice. Yeah, we're not afraid of like international. We just had last week. Was it last week? We had an all Japanese hip hop mix on the show last week.
Yeah, Japan is like one of the best hip hop markets in the world. Germany, France, Japan. I would say after the U.S., those are the three big markets.
It's amazing. So we're gonna talk about travel also, because I know you guys have been around and things.
Nope.
All right, cool. So let's get into this track. We got Siba. Now it was Siba, something with a G. SibaGiba.
I pronounce it SibaGiba.
SibaGiba.
There you go.
Well, you would know. So now, real quick, where's SibaGiba come from?
I have to give a shout to my friend Byron from Low East Side. I used to just use my initials SBG, and he thought that was too plain. And just one day he looked at me and said, I'm going to call you SibaGiba. All right, where'd that come from? He's like, I don't know. Came out SibaGiba. So peace out to B-Ron down in Charlotte, North Carolina. Big up.
All right, word up. So let's get into this track. This is we have SibaGiba. SibaGiba. Open, and we're gonna get into this track called Get Open. All right, it's our show. Thank y'all for. We're gonna continue talking. You know what I'm saying, for the Google Hangout. So because the video is gonna be up on YouTube a little bit later. You know what I'm saying? We'll just keep talking. All right. So let me see here. Let me see. How am I gonna figure this out? Because I don't have my headphones, and we'll get this worked out somehow. But yeah. So cool. So up next, Get Open by Get Open, and we have SibaGiba. So if you have any questions, give us a call, 407-646-2915, or in the chat room at itsourshow.net. All right, be right back. Y'all be easy. Peace. Okay, now.
It's play.
What's up? Yeah, cool. Now the thing is, I just have to plug this out so you can hear them. All right, you there?
Yep.
Cool. So now, we got the track playing. Well, yeah, pretty good. So now we're in the second year. What from being like an open jam type of thing where MCs were just kind of filtering through. When did you know you're like, all right, I want to put out a project? Or did you always know you want to put out a project?
Well, I'll tell you, really what set it off, I think, and I think for a lot of independent artists at the time, was Wu-Tang.
Okay.
I was working at the time. I was signed for a production deal with Daddy-O, the legendary MC from Sonic.
Damn. Okay. Wait. So again, you can't just gloss over this stuff. How? Damn, Daddy from Setsasonic, Daddy-O.
Yep.
Like and Prince Paul, Daddy-O, Setsasonic.
Yes.
Crazy.
So how did that happen?
Well, what happened is that while I was in France, again, you know, I was saying how my mom was the one who took me to the first show. My mom was using African American culture in her linguistic class to interest a lot of the minority students into learning English and finding different methods to get them interested. Because in France, when you learn English, it's really scholarly, it's very British oriented,
Okay.
and there's very little culture within what you're learning. So, you know, minority students, Arab kids and African kids in classes weren't really catching on, not interested. It's kind of like here, you know, if you teach it a foreign language, if you teach it with film or with art, you might interest kids a lot more than just je m'appelle Conchus de It's Our Show. You know, that might just be a little corny. So she decided to do that. And what triggered, you know, me meeting Daddy-O is that she decided that she wanted to do a book on hip hop and interview artists and get their point of view in the early 90s, because at the time in France, the press, music press wanted to interpret and analyze hip hop, and a lot of the journalists were rock journalists, and they didn't know what the hell they were talking about. So she felt, and a lot of hip hop artists were complaining that no one gave them a chance to talk and communicate and express themselves. So her idea was like, let's get some interviews. So she started with Curtis Blow. She started with Grandmaster Flash, with Bambaataa, with the Last Poets. That's who she was really into, you know, before hip hop, which was one of the, you know, we could say big influences of hip hop as far as the poetry. You know, for those who don't know the Last Poets, get with it. You hear it in Biggie songs. You hear it in NWA songs. You know, and I'm not going to say what they say because it's a little, you know, it's the N-word.
Revolutionary jokes, like, yeah, it's yeah.
Y'all can look it up, but she was big on that. So she started doing some interviews, and I said, why don't I interview some of the younger cats? And as people were coming to Paris, I was also working on organizing shows with this big organization, IZB, big up to them. And slowly but surely, I started meeting people. And then I came to New York during my, you know, school year in France and interviewed some people, including Daddy-O. And we hung out. We interviewed for like 3 hours. We hung out for another 2, and he was like, oh, so what else do you do? I was like, oh, I make beats. He's like, let me hear something. So I played him some stuff. He was like, man, when you gonna ever live here? Because I want some of these beats. I was like, oh, I'll be back next year. So he's like, come and see me next year. You know, and a lot of people always tell that to you. Oh, no, we'll link up. But Daddy-O was serious. And he, you know, I called him when I got here early 92, and he was like, come over. And boom, like then a couple weeks later, we signed, you know, me and my associate, we signed a production deal with him. And we were managed by Kedar, who was his brother. And if you know, I know you guys know who Kedar is. Kedar discovered Erykah Badu, D'Angelo, and India RE.
Yeah, Kedar Management, yeah.
And he was managing, you know who at the time, early on? Freestyle Fellowship.
What?
Yeah, that's the first group that Kedar was managing with Daddy-O.
Damn, that's crazy. Okay, let me get back on there. We just finished this joint. Hold on. Damn, all right.
Crazy.
Damn, we're finding all stuff about young SibaGiba right now. We're finding, wow, Daddy-O, that's damn, okay. All right, so yeah, so that track, last track, was Get Open by Get Open, and we have SibaGiba, who's a member, and so it's fair to say the founder of.
Yes, I'd say I'm the founder. I'm the, you know, the conceptualizer. I hate director, you know, all this stuff. Like I conceptualize this idea and try to see it through.
Nice. So now, okay, so before we got off on the whole Daddy-O tangent, which you're gonna have to check out the YouTube video for because it's a crazy story. You know what I'm saying? Your mom is awesome. Seriously, that's just I don't even know. But tell her she's awesome for her contribution to hip hop. Yeah, that's crazy. But so now, okay, we're talking about the second year at SUNY Purchase, right?
Yep.
So you're doing like open jams and you're having kids come in and rhyme over the stuff you guys are doing.
Yep.
So when did you decide, like, all right, I want to be like an official group and put out projects? Like, what was that moment? Like, what caused that?
Well, that moment was when, you start to do shows, on your own campus as a kind of a collective. Then, we started getting booked from different contacts, and just different schools started, showing interest, because you know how it is when you're in college, you always have a friend who's at another school, and et cetera, et cetera. And that back then, we didn't have internet. We didn't have all that, but people have tapes. So, people would pass on a tape. Oh, these are friends of mine, and they're rocking in school, and they're doing all these shows and gigs and events. You should check them out. So we did a couple shows outside the campus. And, as we started doing that, I started to see who was really into it and who was, I would say, less into it, who would commit more, who was serious, who would come to all the recordings, who would come to all the rehearsals. And it was kind of like, when you're playing for a basketball team, like your coach, he wants you to be on time. He wants you to, he wants you to be serious with what you're doing. So I kind of looked at it that way. So there was these, 3-4 members that would always be there, and that we'd always link outside of rehearsing and outside just being homies, And at that time, I said, all right, it seems like there's 3-4 cats that really want to do this, and that's at this point I said, well, let's do this. And really one of the defining moments is when we opened up for KRS-One. Mm-hmm. And we did that. I actually helped organize, with another associate, the show, and we performed at this really plush theater. It's an opera house on the campus. That's not part of the campus, but on it.
Yeah, dope.
It's like members, really uppity, classical music, some jazz, but very little, very secure kind of stuff. And we pushed to get this KRS show. And, I always tell this story because the police was so scared. This is Westchester County, which is, a very rich county of New York State, up above the Bronx. And they brought out the horses that day.
What?
They had cops on horseback. So I was like, all right, we're making some noise.
They might have heard that, what was the KRS song? Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the police.
The police. Yeah.
Damn, wow, okay.
Could have been Black Cop or Sound of the Police, yeah.
Yeah, damn. All right. And back then, he was really, really on some, like, wow. So, yeah, I'd probably have the horses out, too. That's crazy.
Yeah, so it was, it was that show, because there was a couple cats in the collective who didn't really show up for that were a little late and
How
stuff
you
like that.
Show up to perform.
That was it.
Okay.
Now, would you miss a show with KRS-One?
Hell no.
That's what I said, right? That's
wow, I know they're kicking themselves now. That makes no sense. That's horrible.
Absolutely.
All right, so that was like 93?
Yeah, 93. The KRS-One show is 94. And that was really, that moment, Get Open was really born.
All right. Now let's fast forward to, like, because the new album, The Weeknd, just came out like 2 months ago? Like late last year or something like that?
Late 2014.
Okay. All right. So now talk about from those first like sessions to the recording of this one now. You know what I'm saying? Like, how was it from that, like the early joints to being able to record this now?
Well, I'll tell you this, is that what happened is that we did an EP back in '98 with a very famous French DJ. You're probably familiar with this guy. He's a huge DJ named Bob Sinclair. It's like he's a remixer. He's up there with top dudes like Skrillex and Avicii, nice. All those current dudes. So we did an EP with him back in '98, and we had a deal with a label, which I won't name because they're still alive. It's an indie label, and things didn't go as we planned. So, life takes over. Cats got jobs. But we still friends, very close friends. And we didn't want to say that the group broke up, but we say life took over. And we still did records. I was producing. I got to work with Everlast from House of Pain.
Nice. Yeah, I heard you off the Whitey Ford album, right? You got some joints on there.
You might even see, next to my finger, that's where the plaque is.
Yeah, I see a plaque. All right.
Nice. So that's my claim to fame. Big up to Dante Ross for putting me on that. Dagan Ryan and Everlast. But, so I did that. So I was moving my production game.
Mm.
And so I was still always in the mix, and I always would involve members of the group for a solo, for a verse here, for this, that, and the other. And then what happened, fast forward to, like you say, 2012, we get invited to Munich, where we've performed a bunch of time in Germany. And the producer of this, of the Get Open song you played, Glam, he did this record called World Connect, where he invited Dead Prez, who he worked with. He had worked with a bunch of other artists, international cat named Randy Acosta from Cuba. He worked with Omar Musa, who's an amazing writer and poet from Australia. All kinds of different artists from, different countries. And he had asked to, of course, we've known each other for years. He's like, oh, you guys want to record a new song? So he's like, yeah, we did it here. He put it out, invited us for a record release / show in Germany. And that's really where the weekend takes off, because we stayed in the studio for an extra 5 days in Germany and recorded 2 of the songs that are on the album, Get Open being one and 58 Tweets being another.
I was going to ask you about, because you mentioned 58 Beats earlier.
Yeah.
So then, okay, all right.
That's where 58 Tweets comes. So those are the first 2 songs, and we felt that chemistry come back as a 4-man crew, and said to ourselves, we came back and said, there's no more rules in music, really, in hip-hop, just in music in general. We can put out music if we want to. And we said, yeah, let's do it. And that's when we sat down and conceptualized, came up with this idea of the weekend, because we were thinking, oh, we could do a political record, because we're pretty political in some of the stuff we do. But we wanted to be something a little bit more accessible and, something a little more loose, fun for people. So that's when the idea of the weekend, kind of start on Friday and on the Sunday.
I was about to say, it kind of tells a story throughout the whole album.
That was the concept, because we felt, we feel that what's missing a lot in hip hop is concept records. Like back in the day, Guru did a whole album with Gangstar with Primo. Then CL Smooth did a whole record with Pete Rock. Or even MF Doom has done, records, just him and one producer. Marco Polo is probably one of the later, current cats who did that with Teray. He did that with Russ Jux. He's done that. And that's kind of missing in hip hop, because it has this continuity, of a producer and an MC really meshing and chemistry. So we did a lot of our own stuff, but we feel that the other people who worked with us are part of the family. So it is a different producer, but it's the same vibe. We work with very famous French rap group called I Am. And
you just did a show with them, like a big show, right? I think.
Yeah, we just did a sold out show last week at the Gramercy Theater in New York City. Over 600 people. Your opening act, you get there, usually people are coming in, it's not making too much noise, but the place was jam-packed already as we got started. So, and it was a really good crowd, so we had just an amazing time. And, those cats, they've been running game for like 25 years in France. If you're not familiar, check I Am. Has been doing some really great music. Even if you don't understand French, you understand the flow, you'll get the vibe, and the beats are really dope. And, 2 of the cats, one of the lead MCs and the guy who makes the music, Imhotep and Akhenaten, they produced one of the tracks for us. So, we always give them a big shout out, brothers from Marseille and France. Hip-hop's international. If you're listening, you're tuning in, there's no borders anymore. They rap in Palestine, they rap in Mongolia, they rap in Patagonia, wherever you name it, there's hip-hop.
Yeah, like I was saying, because we have a pretty big internet, behind the U.S., we get Canada, we've got Germany, France, Japan's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
We get a lot of listeners that tune into the show and they just want to hear goodness. You know what I'm saying? So
yep.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. All right, so now, okay, let's get into another track. I want to play 58 Tweets.
All right, cool.
You know what I'm saying? Give me a random Jeopardy style fact about 58 Tweets.
Well, 58 Tweets. It's called 58 Beats because that's the name of the street where they are in Germany. But
the actual street is 58 Beats?
Yeah, that's the name. It's the name of the street. So 58. I forgot the name of the street exactly, but that's the number on the building. And we recorded in this place. And this is the kind of concept I think we should have in the U.S. My man has a studio that is subsidized by the city. Okay, they give him the space for nothing. He just had to build his own studio in it. And there's a lot of countries in Europe that subsidize artists and help them get on their feet by giving them a space that they have nothing to pay for. You know, they just need to respect the space, you know, keep it clean, and that's it. And that's where we recorded some music. And I feel that, you know, in this country, there should be a lot more of that, because that really supports artists. They have like graffiti artists in that building that have studios and things like that. So they really encourage the arts.
I think Canada has something like that also.
Absolutely.
That's fresh, where you can get like a grant to be able to pursue.
These guys didn't have to ask for a grant. They just have a career, and being, you know, busy in the game and making music, the city sees that and they travel. So, you know, they kind of become the ambassadors, quote unquote. So people, you know, the city recognized that and give you space. It's like, man, I wish we had space in Brooklyn like that.
All right. So, yeah, so we'll let's behind the scenes, we're going to talk more about the difference between international and here at home and see what's up. All right. So, yeah, let's get into 58 tweets by Get Open. We have SibaGiba of Get Open right now. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. It's our show. Hit us up, 407-646-2915, or Twitter, our show. Anything in the chat room there, Beat, real quick? Or
Lovers of Truth just stopped by. They're a little late, but they stopped by to come through.
All right, cool. It's a good time to come through. All right, so let's get into 58 tweets. Thank you all for tuning in. It's our show. Be right back. Y'all be easy. Peace. All right. Cool. So now, as far as 58 tweets, is it a live band also again, or?
Actually, no, and it sounds live. You know why? Because the guy who produced the Glam, he plays like he's a self-taught musician.
Damn, okay.
He played all those instruments that you heard. It's really an inspiration from a James Brown record, but he replayed everything: the tenor sax, the baritone sax, all that is replayed.
Damn, that's dope. All right,
yeah,
kind of awesome. That's crazy. All right, so now, let me see. Okay, cool. So, all right, so let's contrast real quick because you've been in both places, so I can ask you this: internet overseas, here at home. You know what I'm saying? Like, just kind of compare and contrast for me real quick.
Well, I'll say, you know, in Europe in general, there was always less now, I say, but when they first started, it was really an importance with lyrics. Lyrics were always something very important, and you get scrutinized, you know, if you didn't put in the time to write something, you know, proper. Nowadays, less, but still, you know, there are still people who really scrutinize artists for what they say. But I will say that there's always been kind of they've always kind of followed the US trends. You know, like now you'll go to France and you're going to hear some French trap music. It sounds very, you know, it sounds very Dirty South, but the kids are rapping in French over those kind of tracks. And they've always followed what goes on in the US, you know, like East Coast, some West Coast, you know, and they just, you know, like, for example, this group I Am, they always kind of like were influenced by Mobb Deep and a lot of their beats. I would say even French hip hop in general, like mid-90s was Mobb Deep was the big influence. Wu-Tang, but really Mobb Deep as far as music, not maybe lyrics, but music. So, but what I will say, you know, with hip hop in general, more as a culture, Europe always embraced the culture. And unlike maybe, you know, in certain cities, like even in New York early on, like graffiti writers were always not on the side, but it was always one thing. Dancers were here. Dancers, MCs, and DJs were always kind of mingling. Graph artists were there too, but there's a lot of graph artists who don't like hip hop.
Yeah.
Rock. You know, they like metal. They like country. You know, I mean, I know cats who, I won't say hate, but they're not into hip hop. They like folk music. So in France, in Europe, it was always, early on, it was always one. Graffiti writers, DJs, dancers, MCs were always, and there was always a lot of jams, what they would call jams, where everybody would come. And you would have cats painting on the side, kids breakdancing, you have a little DJ, you know, demonstration, a little freestyle battle maybe, and then a show. And I would say the country that did that the most was Germany in Europe.
Okay.
Always. Switzerland did it a lot. Belgium, but France was more. France always really followed, I think, what the U.S. did for some strange reason. It was kind of like rap, DJs, graffiti artists, and
all separated.
Yeah, kind of separated. Some cats of course mingle, but
yeah, I think that's where because I mean we're kind of to blame as far as the culture being so segregated, because we gave up the control to these like record labels to kind of tell us what is and isn't hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And they're just looking for the bottom dollar. So they're like, oh, we can cut this graph thing because we can't make any money from that. You know what I'm saying? We don't really need B-boys. Like, we can just move. They take a lot of room. You know what I'm saying?
And they want money.
Exactly. So we got the MC and the DJ. DJ technology, we can kind of cut that out. We just press buttons now. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we kind of let that just happen, where it's like, yeah, sure. That sounds great. That's awesome. Word. You know what I'm saying? We just got lazy. All right. Well, let me come right back real quick. Word up. So what you just heard, that was, hold on, I got my Mixcloud. Let me restart that joint later. Cool. All right, cool. We're back on Mixler. All right. So yeah, what you just heard, that was SibaGiba, the group that he conceptualized, Get Open. Was that one produced by Glam also? Or?
Absolutely. It's all live samples.
Nice. That's crazy. He played them all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he played everything.
So there was were you the French MC on there, or?
Yes.
So you were rhyming in French?
C'est moi qui rappe en français.
Damn. So now, okay, so is it, well, I mean, you grew up, is it more difficult? Like, because sometimes you want to try and conceptualize something, and maybe you're thinking in English, but then to try to put it in French, how does that work?
Man, sometimes it doesn't work. But I mean, you know what it is that I've always been around US MCs, and I've always really listened to US hip hop. I can't front. I like some French hip hop, but it was always US hip hop that drove me. So when I'm writing, I usually write mainly in English, although a lot of people say, oh, you should write more in French. It's, it's different. It differentiates you, your group from other people, because you have this a little extra flavor and a little extra spice. But it's more, I have to admit, it's more difficult to me to write in French. Although I speak, fluent French, I speak almost daily, so it's not something it's like I forgot, so I can't write.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like you're in that mode, like, I'm going to write and I'm going to rhyme. Then your brain kind of automatically goes back to English, I think. Maybe that's
and you know what I'll tell you also is that the rhythm of the French language is very different than English. There's more syllables and accentuation, on where you hit the beat, on the two, on the snare, boom, bat, and bat is very different than how you do it in English. So when I'm writing in French, it takes a lot more effort. But then again, that's cool, because that's how you get better just all around as an MC. You just put in that work of trying something that you maybe not comfortable with right away. Like rhyming, on trap beats. I don't, that's triplets, from when you break it down in music terms. And that's doable, but that's not really me. I would take a little time, for me to get adapted to that. And people's like, what? You never rhymed like this before, man. Like, why are you doing this now? So there's also that. But then, like I was saying earlier, there's no rules anymore in hip hop. Whoever wants to do it could do it. Just music in general, because we have all this technology, and you could just, put out a record if you want from your bedroom.
Exactly. And a lot of people are, and that's a good and a bad thing.
Yes, but I agree with that.
So, all right. So we're kind of running out of time. We're about to be off air. You know what I'm saying? We'll probably do a little bit of a extended show, like an online joint, so people can check out the show later on online. You know what I'm saying? It's our show by night. But now, how can people get in contact with Get Open and find out some more information? I know the website, so I'm glad you guys have a website, because I'm a big proponent of having an actual website.
Right.
and not relying on like Twitter and hope maybe Google, like Google me, or you can like, hey, you want to know more? You can check out here.
Right.
And
No,
so,
because if those platforms go down, your account gets hacked, then what do you have?
yeah, you have MySpace. That's what happened. You know what I'm saying?
that won't get hacked at this point, I think.
Nobody cares anymore, so they're like, whatever.
Exactly. You have your account, maintain it. But yeah, we have a website, getopenmusic.com, and with all the other, social media, whether it be Twitter, SoundCloud, it's all Get Open Music. At Get Open Music, SoundCloud.com, Get Open Music, Facebook. We're all on pretty much every platform. We do have a free mixtape that we came out before the album. It's called The Black Book. It has this concept of the graffiti thing. We have a black book, some graffiti PDF style that comes with the album.
That's dope.
Friend graffiti writers. So that's on Bandcamp. If you look us up, Get Open Music on Bandcamp, that's a free download. And there is a track with Daddy O and Rob Swift. The great.
Shout out to Rob Swift. He's I saw some recent pictures. He's getting really swole, and he has like a beard now. Like I haven't seen him in like a couple years. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Rob Swift.
He's rocking with us. So big shout out to Rob, doing some great things, and we're learning. He's learning, because that you should have him on a show. That guy's an encyclopedia. You could have a 2-hour show just with Rob Swift.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to think. I think I've had him on the show a while ago because I've known him for a minute. You know what I mean? And that's a good dude. He's just he's
absolutely
one of the nicest people ever. You know
absolutely. So there's that. There's a couple other tracks on that Black Book. So go out, download it. It's a free download, and support. I say people buy a track. Streaming doesn't pay no bills for us, unfortunately.
yeah. Well, and maybe with the technology, you might figure something out. Who knows? But
no, that's what we're hopeful. We're praying. Crossing the fingers. Something's gonna happen, and the cycle go around, and musicians will be able to make a living aside from just doing shows.
Or maybe somehow we can get the subsidies just like in other countries.
There you go.
Or some kind of actually be able to make their own. All right, so let's get into another joint off the album. Let's finish this off. Let's go with Friday Night.
Okay.
Give me one random fact about Friday Night.
So Friday Night, actually, the Friday Night is an inspiration. Y'all remember that Johnny Kemp song? Friday night.
Yeah.
So that's where Friday Night is inspired from, and you can hear it a little bit in the chorus. So Johnny Kemp, if you're out here listening, it's just an inspiration. If you want, your royalties, just call us up. Please don't sue us. We're not multi-million sellers like Blurred Lines. So we'll share the wealth, no problem.
There you go, exactly. I think that's what needs to happen more. Share the wealth. I think we'll end off that. That's a great idea, and hopefully more people will do that. So SibaGiba, did I say that right?
SibaGiba.
SibaGiba.
There you go.
The hard G. SibaGiba. Fam, thank you very much again. You know what I'm saying?
Thank y'all a lot, man. Appreciate the support. Means a lot. Appreciate you, having me on the air. I wish my other two brothers were here, but they're out of town. So big out to Kiambu and VonMeista, and my other boy, the fourth member, Zook, out in California. So thanks a lot for having us, and I hope y'all keep playing our record. And we have some more music coming soon, so we'll be in touch.
Nice. Hit me up. Yeah, you already know what it is. And looking on the drops, too. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Man, anytime.
You know what I'm saying?
Anytime.
All right, cool.
Out to Florida, Orlando in the building.
Exactly. And everywhere else that tunes in, because like I said, we're worldwide. And
worldwide. Wu-Tang.
Exactly. Wu-Tang's for the children. All right. So, again, thank you, fam. And, let's get into this track, Friday Night, off of The Weekend by Get Open, which is out now. GetOpenMusic.com. Cool.
Hey.
All right. Good looking out.
Later.
Oh, wait, hold that up again.
That's the CD. Hit us up for CDs and shirts. We got them.
All right, nice. All right, cool. So let's get into it. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. This our show. We're going to go over a little bit more because we got special guest Sky Blue coming through. So we're going to do that. All right, cool. Let's get into it. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's been our show. And Friday night. Get open.
Peace.
Thank you, fam. Be easy. Peace.